Well, hello everyone, Tryhard Casual here, and today I have a farming run guide for old school RuneScape. Now if you're anything like me, then you might be a little overwhelmed by all of the different requirements, recommendations, and routes you can take for a decently efficient farming run. Now I've done my best here to consolidate all of this information and to give you the necessary tools to figure out your own path while still getting a firm grasp on the skill itself. Now I will warn you, there's no quick way to explain all of this, and most farming runs end up being different from one another based on what you have access to on your character. So don't sweat it if you don't have every single recommendation, because there's almost always a workaround for what you're trying to do. And basically I'll show you how to do different plant types individually and then show you my personal path at the end. But without any further delay, let's get into it. Before anything else, I think we should talk about helpful quests and items to have for farming. Only a few items here are actually explicitly required. For the rest of them, the more you have, the more efficient your run will become. A few do stand out as being more helpful from the others though. I would definitely recommend having these quests and items done at least before beginning your farming runs. I also noticed on the wiki that if you complete a few quests, that you can jump straight to level 34 farming, and that's exactly what I ended up doing, and it lets you avoid the slower, low levels of farming. So in this guide, we'll really just be talking about 3 different types of plants: herbs, trees, and fruit trees. And for the purposes of this specific guide, level 27 farming for the lowest fruit tree is where you'll need to be to benefit from everything that I'll be talking about. I'll start off by talking about herbs. Herbs are one of the easiest ways to make money with farming. Whenever I decide on what herb to plant, I always go for profit over experience. There's even a nice profit calculator to tell you which seeds will be the most profitable for you. I would definitely recommend using ultra compost while planting herbs because it greatly increases the chance of your herbs surviving while also increasing the yield per seed. Now even with paying for ultra compost, you'll be able to make a decent profit from all of the herbs you'll be selling. So what you'll need on a typical run is 5 to 7 seeds, 5 to 7 ultra compost, a rake, a seed dibber, a shovel, magic secators, weight reducing gear, the Ardougne Cloak 2, the Explorer's Ring 2, and other various transportation methods, which I'll get into. 7 different herb patches are currently in RuneScape. There's one south of Falador, there's one north of East Ardougne, west of Port Phasmatis, in the southeast corner of Karen, north of Catherby, Trollheim, and Harmony Island. I should note that the Trollheim patch is locked behind the My Arms Big Adventure quest. Also, the patch on Harmony Island has a pretty steep requirement, being that you need the Mortania Elite Diaries to access it. Now by themselves, these patches can easily be visited in any order and still be efficient. I compiled a list here of various ways you can get to each patch. You can choose whatever way works the best for you, but I will put what method I used at the top of each list. That finishes up our herb runs. Next we have our trees. I'll be talking both about fruit trees and regular trees because they're similar in nature, excluding their actual patch locations. As a general rule of thumb, you'll always want to pick the highest level tree or fruit tree that you can to grow. Trees and fruit trees give a lot of experience per harvest, and it can be worth spending a little more money on a higher level sapling. For fruit trees, this isn't too much of an issue, but with regular trees you may find that it's hard to afford saplings better than willow. I personally just stick with willow saplings, I'm fine with a little bit less experience. I typically only do trees and fruit trees once a day, even though you can do regular trees more than once, and I've still been maintaining one farming level easily per day. Anyway, it's 100% worth it to pay a farmer to watch your trees to make sure they don't die. If you open up the farming skill, you'll notice that beneath any type of plant that you have a payment. That is what you pay the farmer with to watch your plants while they grow. For both trees and fruit trees, you have 5 patch locations. Tree patches are located in Falador, Varrock, Lumbridge, Taverley, and the Gnome Stronghold. There's less variation in how you can reach these patches when compared to the herbs, but I'll still put which path I use at the top of each list. You'll also want to bring 1,000 gold, a shovel, a rake, 5 saplings, 5 of the payment plants that you need, weight reducing clothing, and various transportation items. Again, these patches can basically be visited in any order and be efficient. It's when you combine different types of plant runs that you can focus your route down a little bit more specifically. Now the items you bring for your fruit tree run are basically going to be the same. Their patch locations are slightly different, being at Catherby, the Gnome Stronghold, Gnome Village, Brimhaven, and Layletta. The Layletta patch is locked behind Morning's End Part 1, so if you don't have that quest completed, you only need to bring 4 saplings instead of 5. Here we have another list of how to reach each location efficiently. Now you probably have an idea in your head already about how you want to run your crops. I wanted to show you what path I take and what sort of experience gains I have and what sort of profit loss you might expect from a typical run. I always start off with fruit trees in my run since they give the most experience and the big numbers make me feel better about my sad life. To begin, I'll take the spirit tree at the Grand Exchange to the Gnome Village. From there I have Elcoy escort me out of the maze and into the patch. After I'm done, I'll go back to the spirit tree and travel to the Gnome Stronghold. While there, I get the regular tree patch by the Slayer Master, and also get the fruit tree patch that's close to the spirit tree. From there, I take the Gnome Glider to White Wolf Mountain and run down to Catherby, first to get the fruit tree and then the herb patch. Next I use a house tab and use my portal room to travel to Ardone. You end up in the East Marketplace, so you need to run south to the dock and pay the fare to get to Brimhaven. The fruit tree patch is located close to the shore. With that being done, I use my teleport crystal to Layletta since I completed Morning's End Part 1 to get to the fruit tree patch located there. With everything else being done, I teleport back to Varrock Square and quickly use the tree patch next to the castle. And that pretty much completes the first half of my run. Next up, I go back to the Grand Exchange and fill up on all the items I need for the second half. My inventory is fuller than last time, so I begin the run by finishing off the trees. I teleport to Lumbridge and get the patch behind the castle. Next up, I use a dueling ring to teleport to Castle Wars and then take the balloon to Taverley and plant a tree in the patch there. From here, I house tab and take a teleport to Falador to get the tree in the park. Now with all the trees being done, I can focus on the herbs. I'll spare you the details on this one because they can basically be visited in any order, and I already listed what methods I use to travel to them previously in the video. It took me roughly 20 minutes to complete a run, and I'm sure time can be shaved off here and there. From all of those patches, I gained around 40.5k experience. For only 20 minutes, this isn't a half bad way to train farming just once per day. Obviously, there's other methods to max out your experience, but this is more of an introduction into the farming life. As for your profits, well, you actually end up losing a little bit of money. I believe I was able to account for everything that I used in the run, and it ended up costing around 100k. With the profits made from selling the Toad Flax, however, I was able to be reimbursed around 80k for a total loss of just around 22k. In a normal day-to-day life in RuneScape, 22k is pretty much negligible. Really, all you have to do is run herbs more than once a day and you end up in the green. In the end, I would say the most important thing to do is to not get too caught up in what is the absolute best way to do everything. If you sit down and plan on having every little thing that's good for farming at the ready, then it'll take ages before you're even ready to train it. Give your bank a good look through, see what items you have, and take a minute to plan out the best way for you to run your crops. Hopefully I was able to guide some people in the right direction and get the gears turning for your own runs. I also left a few wiki links down in the description for anyone looking for more information on farming runs. You know, if you enjoyed the video, definitely give it a thumbs up, maybe share it with your friends. It would definitely mean a lot to me. And if anyone has any questions about the video or farming in general, I'll do my best to answer anything that I can. But it's been a pleasure, guys. Hope this helped. I'll see you next time.